Well, let's see how he responds to some light.
If you're anything like me, when you first heard that a game set in the Lord of the Rings universe following the exploits of Sméagol was being developed, you were skeptical. Though vital to the story of Middle-earth's conflict with Sauron, he's largely a one-note antagonist who's present for as long as necessary throughout the books, and no longer. At least, that's what I thought going in. But my brief time with the Lord of the Rings Gollum makes a solid first argument that the lost journey of the third Hobbit could be just as interesting as Frodo and Bilbo's. Much of the new story blends seamlessly with the well-established lore, but it's Sméagol's relationship with his suppressed alter ego that keeps the journey compelling. A big selling point for me was the possibility of following the footsteps of Middle-earth's greatest misfit and watching him duel himself. The body of the man is piloted by two minds, the naive and placid Sméagol and the selfish and malicious Gollum. Whenever he's guided to make a choice, they're usually from either perspective. Does Sméagol answer a question honestly and earnestly, or does Gollum lie and insult the inquirer? The developers told me that these choices do add up, and eventually you'll find yourself in positions where one personality will dominate the conversation based on your preference of one over the other. This isn't a standard morality system as you've seen in games like Mass Effect, as not every choice Sméagol makes will keep him out of trouble. Sometimes it's the obsessive self-interest of Gollum that will keep him out of chains. This expresses itself in interesting ways while you explore the world too. In one chapter, you're escorted into a spooky keep somewhere in Mordor by an imposing orc. He walks back to his post and gives you strict orders to stand still and wait for a gong. A good Sméagol would have nervously waited, but as a shifty little Gollum, I attempted to escape.
Clever orc. The other one. He'll see us. We need to stone.
He's quite the climber, with the platforming feeling largely like the Uncharted variety of ledge grabbing, vine scaling, and acrobatic swing jumping. It was a little jarring at first to see him move so video gamely, considering my impression of the character established from books and movies, but after a while, his almost supernatural scampering feels right. This, mixed with its approach to combat, to discourage it at every turn in favor of stealth and trap-laying, combine to lock you into a style of play that feels appropriate for the sort of creature who lives in the shadows of bigger, scarier things and lives to tell the tale. At the end of the above section, after traipsing over jagged scaffoldings and tiptoeing through laboratories and offices full of very important and conspiratorial-looking objects, I met a creeper named Candleman. His poise and intimidation factor made him fit right at home on the cliffs of Mount Doom, so I assumed this was a character from a book I'd missed like the Silmarillion. I was corrected by Demiri Napide, lore master of the Daedalic development team, who assured me that he and several characters I had met in the roughly hour-long demo were creations for this story. Established characters like Gandalf the Grey make an appearance as well, and are written and performed in a way that feels spot on to the characters we know and love. Does all this make a cohesive experience that justifies taking another trip into the well-worn territory? There's not enough in this demo to be certain, but the Lord of the Rings Gollum does at least make a good first impression, outlining a solid case for piloting one of the strangest and yet most important characters in the lore. Hopefully the final product, launching on May 25th for PC and consoles, melds the split personality choices, parkour, stealth, and story into a project you won't want to throw into a volcano. For more on the Lord of the Rings, don't miss our review of Season 1 of Amazon's Lord of the Rings show, Rings of Power. And for everything else in Middle-earth and beyond, keep it locked on IGN.
There it is, the spy. Two of them. Two little crooks.